For today's MMA Junkie Radio Daily Debate, we want to know who has made the best points thus far in the surprising debate between Bruce Buffer and Nate Diaz. I guess we should state what was said. Bruce Buffer is basically a little disappointed in Nate Diaz, saying so much as to Nate should be bowing to Dana White for the kind of, I think what he meant to say is for the career he's given him. He also put it out there and said he had heard that Nate Diaz made $7 million in his last fight. His last fight was about 2 years ago versus Conor McGregor Part 2. Nate Diaz fires back and says, "I'm not bowing to anyone." Let's talk about this, guys.
I think the unfortunate word was bow, but it's one that Bruce Buffer uses. I think he says it in his autobiography. I've heard him say it in interviews before. He says, "I bow down to the Fertittas and Dana every time I see them because I thank them for what they've done for the sport." So it's a term that he's used himself, but he doesn't mean it as, literally bow down on the ground. It's just he shows respect to them, and I think that's all he meant. And so that's the word that's getting taken out. That's just like everybody, "Oh, I can't believe he said this," because I kind of understand what Bruce is saying in terms of, like, I just want to see Nate fight, man. Nick too, for that matter, man. Like, it's so frustrating that they do complain that they won't fight. And I want to see him fight. And I think that's at the end of the day what we all say is, like, dude, if they're going to help you get paid, let's just get you in the cave. So I think Bruce's heart was in the right place. I just think it's that one word that everybody's keying on.
He's so eloquent too when he speaks. Usually he chooses his words wisely, and his public persona is one where he usually doesn't say that. But as soon as he said it, I knew Twitter sphere was going to gobble him up, because there are people there just ready to dissect whatever you have to say and chop it up into pieces. So I knew it wasn't going to go well, and also the target, I knew it wasn't going to be a gangster from the 209. He ain't bound to anybody, But here's the point. Bruce, okay, let's just say the $7 million payday was accurate. I feel like Nate deserves that. I mean, he earned that money because he choked out Conor McGregor on 10-day notice. Conor wanted to run it back. It sold well, so he's entitled to his money. I think Bruce should just say, "Hey, Nate, just get to fighting. We all love it when you fight. Don't let these little things, hamper your enthusiasm for the sport, and get out there and perform, and kind of stop whining and start being yourself." I started to warm up to some of his interviews when he would promote his fights. Be that guy. I think he's beyond that. He's a superstar, guys. He should be fighting. Goes?
Well, my first thought was this.
Okay.
I heard the word and I thought, that's just not going to go over well. But maybe with other fighters, a few handful, but with a Diaz brother, they're not going to bow out anyone. So I understand that part. When you think about it, though, the Buffers, Michael and Bruce, have seen a lot of things in combat sports, and they've seen a lot of people piss their careers away. They've seen a lot of people be successful in what they do. Bruce Buffer has been through lots of generations of fighters in the UFC, so I'm sure he's seen a lot of that, and I think that demands a certain respect. I think his points are valid. I agree with you. Nate Diaz deserves all that money he made. He is a superstar, but it also depends on what that other name is on the other side of his name, because he can't get that kind of money
the $7 million with
everybody on the roster. If you take Conor McGregor, pick any one of those names, he's still going to make a lot of money. Nate Diaz doesn't have that power, and I think maybe that's what Bruce is trying to get across to him is, hey, you're in a good spot. Be thankful that you're there, because it could easily be someplace else.
Dan?
Yeah, basically, Bruce meant well, but unfortunately, it didn't come off that way. I side more with Nate here. More importantly, it's not so much taking sides. I think it's good because, in the sense that it brought light to the relationship with the fighters and the promoter. Yes, we owe Dana and the Fertittas their place in history, but at the same time, we break down the numbers of any fighter promoter and fighter. It's not exactly fair and balanced. So when you throw a word like that on there on top of that, fans are going to get upset.
I side with Nate. You side with Nate?
Yeah.
We have to pick someone. Who do you side with?
I sided with Bruce.
Who do you side with?
I sided with Bruce if it had been phrased a little different. I mean, not siding. I'm not siding with anybody, but I think Bruce, the point is, yeah, man, just let's do this. But the bow down comment was probably a little unfortunate.
Hopefully these guys can see each other in the lobby and go, you know what I meant, and hug it out and just move on.
That's it.
Because that's all what everybody wants is for him to fight.
The way the Diaz brothers always do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That shit ain't happening, guys.
1,227 votes came through. Yeah, he's got an enemy for life. Nate, more people sided with Nate and what he had to say at 56% versus Bruce Buffer.
I'm surprised it was that close.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Wow.